Welcome back to part 2 of our video tutorial series where we're learning how to take a large data set and convert some important information from that data set into an infographic. In the first video we weeded through all that information in a rather large data set about drinks containing caffeine, and we narrowed it down to the top 5 energy drinks that we see students drinking around the schoolyard. We also did a little bit of research to find out how much sugar went into each of those drinks as well. Now with this data, what we want to do in this video is convert it into an infographic, so it's a little bit easier to interpret and will hopefully catch the attention of students around the schoolyard if this poster were to be hanging up on a wall. Okay, so to get started on making an infographic, I want you to go over to a website called canva.com and just sign in using your school email address up in the top right hand corner. Now once you're signed in, there'll be this homepage screen here that looks like this, and it says, what will you design today? We're going to design an infographic. So just write in infographic and hit enter so it can do a search. Now there's heaps of different infographics there. You can see it's got like some 6,000 templates to weed through. We're going to scroll down a little bit and we're looking for a dark one in particular that looks like this here. This is the one I want. Okay, it's called the Dark Modern Gradient 5-Step Sales Process Infographic. Okay, so if you can't see it, maybe search for that particular heading and that might bring it up. Once you've clicked on it, click Customize this template. Okay, and what we're going to do is start to modify this template to suit our needs. Okay, so one of the first things that I like to do with an infographic is come up with a catchy heading at the top. So I'm just going to zoom in here. You can see it says the 5-step sales process at the moment. We're actually going to scrap that and we're going to say something like energy drinks exposed. And I'm just going to stretch that out a little bit. All fits on one line, and on the next line I'm going to write the hidden ingredient. We are referring to sugar in this case. Now I want to get that to fit all on one line as well. Okay, so I'll just move them back. I might do a bit of resizing of some of the text there. I want the energy drinks exposed a little bit smaller than the hidden ingredient there. That doesn't look too bad for a heading. If you want, you could move them up a little bit. It doesn't really matter too much. I might just move them up a little bit so I've got a little bit of room there to play with further down. Okay, so once that's at the top, that looks pretty good. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put a watermark in the background. So if I go over to my design panel over here on the left hand side, I'm going to go to the elements section and I'm just going to search energy drink. Now all these different graphics are going to come up, photos, videos and so on. I want to look in the graphics section. So they're like the cartoony kind of pictures. And I just want a simple energy drink to put in the background of this design. So I reckon one of these two here would look good. If you want the coloured one, go for it. We're going to wash it out anyway with a bit of transparency. But if I zoom back here, you can see now I've got this can of energy drink on top of everything. I'm just going to make that quite large by stretching it out. And I'm going to go to position and I'm going to send it to the back. I might just move it forward to there. That way it's not right behind the background. And then I'm going to change the transparency. So this little checkerboard here, I'm going to pull it right down to something like 5. So about 5%. You can just see now in the background that washed out energy drink. Just adds a little bit more depth, I suppose, to our poster. Okay, so I've got the heading, got the watermark put in. The next thing I'm going to do is head down and start editing this section. Okay, this wavy line I don't think is completely necessary, so I'm going to delete that. Just click on it and press delete. Gone. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put in pictures of the energy drinks in each of these circles. So we can go and delete the text from each of those circles. Just click on it and press delete on your keyboard. And we're going to put in the top 5 energy drinks in order of the most amount of sugar. Okay, so looking back at our table here, I'm going to sort this by the most amount of sugar, which I think it already is. So it's going to go Rockstar, Monster, Mother, Red Bull and V. Okay, so I have gone online and I have found some pictures. I'll just show you here quickly. These pictures here of each of the energy drinks. They're all transparent backgrounds, so these should slip nicely into our design. What you'll need to do is go to uploads, and you'll need to upload those files yourself. As you can see, I've already done that earlier on today. Okay, so I am going to put in the first one, which is the Rockstar energy drink. By simply clicking on it once, that puts it into our design, and then I'm just going to resize it so it fits inside that circle. I want it smack bang inside the circle there in the middle. Right, something like that will do. Coming in second place was the Monster energy drink, so click on it once, bring it up to the circle and give it a bit of a resize. Oops, that cropped it. There we go, that looks pretty good in there. Coming down after Monster, we had the Mother energy drink. Click on it once, give it a resize, and get that. Oops, it's going to be a bit of a tricky one to grab now. There we go. Get that in the circle. After that, I think we had the Red Bull. Yep, Red Bull and then V. Okay, so let's just bring this down to size. In the circle. It's probably a little bit too small. And then the V energy drink to finish things off. Okay, so we're looking at the most amount of sugar first, down to the least amount of sugar at the bottom. Okay, so scrolling back up now, you can start to see how that's looking. Now I want to get the circles around each of these cans to match roughly the can color. So if I zoom in here, I can see the Rockstar's got mainly purple and yellow as their colors. So if I click on this circle, oops, I can go up the top and play with the colors. Okay, so I might just go for a yellowy kind of color there and a purple kind of color there. Okay, so now we've got those kind of purple yellow colors in the circle around it. Heading down a bit lower, Monster Energy has that green and black, so let's put in a nice bright green. I'm not sure if black's going to look real good here, but we'll give it a crack. Yeah, not the end of the world, that's alright. That green could be a bit light. I'll try slightly darker, that looks better. Okay, coming down to the Mother Energy drink, we've got probably red and black, I would say, there being used. So let's find some red and a dark black there. Doesn't look too bad. Red Bull, tricky one. We could go red and blue. We'll see how it looks, I guess. Oops, wrong color there. Try this blue. Not sure why that's colouring that in. There we go, that's the red and blue I'm looking for. Not a great look. I might try blue and silver there, or blue and grey. That looks alright. And to finish off with, we've got the V energy drink. So we've already got that nice greeny colour in there. I might try and go for a black. Oops, for the second colour there. Maybe a yellow would work better. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Okay, so zooming back now, I know it's a little bit hard to see on your screen, but we've got the colours in those circles now that somewhat match the colour of the cans. Okay, so I think that looks pretty good. And the next thing we're going to put in is over on the right hand side. We're going to start to modify the text next to each of these cans. So I'm just going to start with the top one, the Rockstar. I'm going to delete that picture. I'm going to delete that little, I'm not going to delete that heading actually. I might just change the colour of it, that'd be easier. So for the Rockstar one, we can change that text colour. Let's try a purpley kind of colour. It's not too bad. We could try yellow. I'm probably going to go with purple. I think the majority of the can's purple, so I'll roll with that. And we're just going to rename it to the name of the drink, which is Rockstar. I'm going to put that in capital letters. Now coming in underneath that, I want to put the key information that we found out from our spreadsheet about this particular drink. So we're going to have the volume. I might put this in capitals too. We'll have the volume. We'll also put in the, I think it was calories next. Calories, caffeine, and sugar. Okay, and I'm going to just fill those in quickly. So the volume of the Rockstar is 473 mils. Calories is 250. The caffeine is 160. And sugar is 83 grams. Okay, now I'm going to get you to move both of these. So I'm just going to click on them and hold shift to select them both, and I'm just going to move it up to the top of the circle so it's level with the top of the circle. You'll see a little pink guide come up to show you about there, and that looks pretty good. I'm going to copy this grey text by clicking on it, pressing Ctrl C, and I'll come down to the next one, which is the Monster Energy drink. I'll delete the text and paste in what I just deleted, something like that. Now I'm going to change the colour of this writing first of all to a greeny colour that's going to look a bit like the monster colour, and in capital letters I'm just going to write monster. Okay, now we need to adjust the data here so it matches. So monster is 473, so that's okay. Calories is 210, caffeine's 160, 57 grams of sugar in the monster drink. I'm going to do the same things before, pick up those two bits of text and make them level with the top of the circle, which is just there. Okay, coming down further now, we've got the Mother Energy drink. We are going to change that text color to red. We'll give it the name Mother. Oops, make sure we're in capitals. And I'm going to delete that and paste in that information. Now, Mother is a 500 ml can, not 473. Calories is 228. Caffeine is at 160, so it looks like there's a bit of consistency there with the amount of caffeine in those top three drinks. 51 grams for the sugar. Okay, let's move them up. And then finally, oh, actually not finally, we've got two to go, so let's quickly do Red Bull. I might click on that last one and write V Energy. So back to Red Bull here, I'm just going to delete that grey text and I'm going to paste in that. Okay, let's see what Red Bull has. 250 mils, 117 calories. 250 mils, 117 calories. Caffeine is 80 and 28 for the sugar. Alright, Red Bull can be moved up to the top there. And V Energy drink coming in last. So let's get that sorted. Now I believe V Energy has 250 mils of volume, so I can put that in while I remember it. Calories 116. Caffeine, we're at 78. And the sugar content is quite low at 26 grams. Alright, so let's just pick up, I should probably spell that right, V Energy and the information that goes with it, move it up to the top there so it's level with the top of the circle, and I think that looks pretty good for each of those. So if I zoom out now, you can see this starting to come together quite nicely, but there's still a bit of room on there to add some more stuff. So what I want to do next to make it easy to understand how much sugar goes into each of these drinks, I'm going to do a little symbol of teaspoons to show how many teaspoons of sugar in each drink. So I'm going to start up with the Rockstar area. I'm going to come over here to my elements and search sugar teaspoon. See what comes up. Okay, so there's a whole heap of different teaspoons there with sugar on them. Doesn't really matter which one you collect. I might go this one just here and click on it. And there it is there coming up. I'm just going to move that up the top here near Rockstar. And I'm going to resize it fairly small because I need to fit in 21 different, well not 21 different, but 21 copies of that teaspoon right there to show how much sugar's in the Rockstar drink. So I'm just going to hold Alt and click and drag off these. By holding Alt and clicking and dragging, it makes a duplicate copy of the teaspoon. So I want to have 5 across. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I can then highlight these. Actually, that's still highlighting the background picture as well. So I might lock that background picture first. If you just click on that energy drink that's faded into the background and right click on it, you should be able to lock it. That will make life a bit easier. We can now go and select these teaspoons again. Make sure you just hover over the teaspoons, don't get anything else selected. If you want, you can group them, doesn't really matter. And I'm going to hold Alt and just drag down. Okay, do the same again. And the same again. And that gives us 20, I think. Yeah, 20 different teaspoons there. Just get these a little bit closer. Think about these, right? So that's 20. I need to put one more down below, so I'm just going to ungroup that one, I guess, and drag one of these spoons down below. There we go. So that shows us we've got 21 teaspoons of sugar going into the Rockstar energy drink. So quite a few. The next one is 14 for the Monster energy drink. So we can probably highlight, 1, 2. That'll give us 10 teaspoons, and we're just going to drag them down. And then we've got to get 4 more to put underneath there. So I might just highlight these 4 and hold Alt and just go and move them down. Okay, so Monster energy drink has 14 teaspoons of sugar in it. Mother has 13, so I can basically copy and paste what we've got here. I'll hold Alt and drag down. And just delete one of those spoons off the end. So that gives us 13 spoonfuls of sugar. Red Bull, getting to the smaller ones now, 7, and V energy drink 7 as well. Okay, so let's just highlight the first row. Bring that down, that gives us 5. We'll get 2 from this last row and drag them down. Okay, and we can do the same for the V energy drink. So we'll just highlight all of them and bring them down. Alright, not looking too bad now. So we've now got a bit of information about each of the energy drinks that is quite easy to understand. Okay, I think the only thing I would put in now is probably just a little message at the bottom letting people know what is the recommended daily intake of sugar for a teenager. Okay, so I'm going to go down to this text. I'm just going to say something like recommended daily intake of sugar for a teenager is 25 g. Now I'm going to stretch this out so you can see it, hopefully all on one line roughly. I need to zoom in a bit here. There we go, so the recommended daily intake of sugar for a teenager is 25 grams. And I'm going to go dot, 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 because we're going to add one more line of text below it. And that is going to say how many teaspoons that is. So I believe it's 6 teaspoons. So let's write, I probably don't need capitals. That's not letting me go lowercase, must be the type of font. So I'll just write that's 6 teaspoons of sugar. Actually, probably don't need to write of sugar, we'll just write that's 6 teaspoons. Again, I'm going to highlight that bottom one, make it a different colour so it stands out a bit. So where do we go for that? Is it going to let us change the colour? Maybe not. Maybe we can pick a different type of text. If we had a subheading, it's a bit too big. What if we just add a little bit of body text? There we go. Now we can adjust the colour. Say to yellow. We'll say that's 6 teaspoons. So I'm going to replace that text at the bottom with that one, just because I can get it in lowercase and I can change the colour. I probably don't need it that big. What's font's this one? Montserrat. That one's Canvas Sans. So feel free to play around with the fonts there. See what this one does. There we go. That looks a bit better. That doesn't look too bad down there, I don't think. So that's probably looking pretty good. Okay, so I know that was a bit of a tedious video. It was a long one, but we've now got our first infographic made all about energy drinks. Okay, so once you are done, it will save automatically into your account, but it would be a good idea to share it so we can print that out. So when we go to sharing it, what we want to do is download it, and PDF print is definitely what we would recommend doing. So go with the suggested option there. That's the best way to print it. We don't need to touch any of that stuff. Now the color profile, I might change that to CMYK so it's all good for printing. Unless you just want to use it on the web, then you'll leave it as RGB color profile. I'm going to go CMYK and I'm going to click download. Now that will just do its thing, and in a moment that should download onto your computer. So we'll just give it a sec and we'll see how that looks once it's downloaded. We'll open him up. There it is. And there you have it. You've just created your own infographic. Looks pretty good to me. Okay, so I'm going to stop the video here. Next time I give you a data set, you should be able to now filter and sort that data and pick out the important information that you want, and then I'd expect you to be able to convert that to an infographic quite easily by simply using canva.com. Okay, I will see you in a future video.